There is a popular saying in leadership that if you think you're leading and there's nobody following you, you are only going on a walk. On this platform, you are going to learn principles of leadership. You are going to encounter different leaders. You are going to learn about how you can grow as a leader, how you can make an impact. My name is Samuel Eyim, and I'm the host for the leadership platform. I am a leadership coach, a lawyer by profession, a John C. Maxwell certified coach. I have been in corporate life in senior positions for several years, and now I run the Center for Transformational Leadership, where we train and coach leaders to become better leaders. And I invite you to go on a journey with us as we discuss the subject of leadership in the coming weeks.
This and every Saturday, you have opportunity to ask questions, share your views on important leadership matters.
Every one of you have a journey to take. Your first step is your most important step. You don't go up to the top. You grow up to the top.
You are one decision away from shifting your life from where it is right now to a totally different place.
So often our setbacks are setups. It's just hard to see it at the time.
What if you interrupted that pattern of thinking and simply said, what do I want? That takes your energy and focus off of the problem and begins to focus you on a solution.
Success is a series of steps, not one giant leap.
Commitment will get us to the starting line. Consistency will get you to the finish line.
We must constantly collaborate, complementing each other to deliver compelling value to the good people of Ghana.
You were born. You were created for your life to count.
Hello. Good evening and welcome to the Leadership Platform. I'm excited to be with you this evening. My name is Samuel Eyim, and I want to welcome everyone to the Leadership Platform this evening, Saturday evening, because we are going to learn great lessons from a great leader, and we are happy that you're going to join us. Now, if you are joining us for the first time, or even if you've been joining all the time, we are always happy to know who is connecting with us. We know a lot of you connect and you don't show up as you don't introduce yourself. So we want to encourage you to just introduce yourself, let us know you are here, and we will be happy to welcome you. And if you tell us where your name and where you are calling from or you're joining from, that would be very good. We are still in the LIVE2LEAD mood. In the last week, I have been doing some rebroadcasts of LIVE2LEAD to several institutions under the Village of Hope group. We did to the hospital staff and nurses and doctors and so on. It was great. We did to the academy staff and the orphanage homes and parents, and it was wonderful. Then we had a session also with the college, with the young students of the Hope College, together with their teachers, And it was amazing how the young ones are sharp and willing to learn and take lessons. Yesterday, Thursday night, I drove to Kwawu, to another campus of the Village of Hope, the Hope Ridge College, which is one of the top private schools on the ridge there. And we did a broadcast to the teachers and students, and it was equally amazing. We encourage you guys and everybody to get your groups, your church groups, your youth groups, your corporate leaders, your church leaders, and give an opportunity give them opportunity to share the experience of Live to Lead, and they'll be grateful for you. All right. So we're getting ready, and I can see William Darfur has joined from Tema. Good evening, William. Always here. We appreciate your presence. I can see Amidou joining us. He says, good evening, Amidou. We are grateful that you are here. Annabelle is here with us. Annabelle Kala is joining from Accra. And thank you, Annabelle, for joining. I hope it's Kalai, or yes, I think. And there's Udro Kwatin from London, all the way from the United Kingdom. Thank you so much. We have Douglas Amwatin also joining us. All right. We have Akwesi Kankam also joining us from London. So we have so many people, as we know, joining us this evening. Sarah is also with us and joining us all the way from Geneva, as always. Sarah, you are always welcome. Kofi is here. The team members are here. Mami is here from Holland, joining us from Holland. Thank you so much. And Xavier is here from Ra all the way. Thank you, Ernest, for joining us. That is great. Kwesi Asare Amwakon is joining us from Italy and his family. We are grateful. And I know also there are a few families that on Saturday evening sit around the platform and learn together. We are still taking lessons from Live to Lead. And there's so much we learned about Live to Lead. You cannot substitute the experience for the sharing, but the sharing is great. The sharing is as great as the people who are sharing. And guys, these are people who you would say have achieved, they are great, they are doing things, but they still go to Live to Lead. Why do people like these go to Live to Lead? Because that is why they are where they are. They are learners. Leaders are learners. So if you want to grow, you want to develop yourself, we want you to understand that you have to look for opportunities to learn, to grow. And this evening, we're going to listen to a great leader who is also willing, who is also growing. And if you look at her background, Dr. Susie actually probably can say he doesn't need to learn, but she's always connected to the leadership platform, and she was at Live to Lead also. And she's taking so much notes. And when I looked at her presentation, I realized that she took so much notes from Live to Lead. And this evening, she's going to do us the honors, and she's going to share the dimension of factors that would give you personal success, factors that are going to give you business and leadership success. And I mean, when I look at Susie's background, she's great. She's a finance person. She's an accountant. She has a doctorate degree in finance and accounting. She started her career with DataBank and grew in that organization to become the vice president in charge of wealth management. Then in 2017, she took the bold step of setting up her own company, Octane SD Limited. And she knew as a business and a finance person that sometimes when you're going alone is difficult. So she took the decision to do a merger with another organization, Dealers Capital. And when that merger was made, she became the CEO, and the organization kept growing and growing. And I can tell you, just last night, Octane DC, which she founded and which she ran, won an award as the best growing finance institution under the Accounting and Finance Awards last night. Okay, so this is the person who is going to talk to us. She's a lecturer. She has a doctorate degree. She's been lecturing in different organizations and mentoring in different organizations. She's also a Toastmaster, which means she knows how to communicate very well with us. And look at her profile. There's so much. It's so rich, and she loves to give back. This is the third time she's coming on the platform. That should tell you that she loves to give back. She's mentoring Ashasi students, business students. She's mentoring church people. She's mentoring women. She's mentoring all kinds of people so that they can all grow. We are very privileged this evening. And for the third time on the leadership platform, the first two occasions she talked to us about wealth management. The second time she talked to us about retirement planning. Guys, go to the platform and go and dig into those. I was going through some of those lessons myself and trying to put my thoughts together on wealth management and retirement planning. I mean, it's a wealth of knowledge. So this evening, Susie, my friend, I'm very happy to welcome you to the leadership platform again, to share with us the factors for personal and leadership success from the lessons you learned at LIVE2LEAD. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Sam. It's always a delight to be back on this stage that draws together significant people from Africa who are positioned and ready for growth, be it personal, be it professional, be it leadership. So it's always a joy to come back every time I'm invited. I know when I was done with the first one, I didn't know there would be a second round and a third round, but this is what growth is. Once you position yourself to begin to give back and impact, so the world begins to allow you to continue to engage and impact. So I'm very happy to be here, and good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone, wherever they are joining us from. It's a good thing to be here, and I know for some of you, you received the invite through a friend and you are here. But once we are here, what our request is that we all remain open-minded. Every day is an opportunity to learn. Every day is an opportunity to pick on new ideas. So let's all remain open-minded and engage throughout the section where I drop some questions along the way. I would like you to also drop responses along the way. So here we are, critical factors for personal and leadership success. My lessons from LIVE2LEAD 2021. It was an amazing session for me, I must say. Very transforming, based on the fact that these are people who are sharing their lived experiences. These are entrepreneurs and leaders who are sharing their successes from how low they started and how high they have become now. So it's always a reflective time listening to people who are ahead of us and have done it. And it's always good to know that the beginning may be tough, but what we need to know is that we just need to keep pushing one day at a time, and the glory will come along the way. So I'd like to share some few things with us this evening, and whatever ideas we also have along the way, we can please drop it in the chat box, and I'll ask Sam to keep along and let me know what is dropping in there that I need to pay attention to. Where am I now? Where am I now so far as my leadership journey is concerned? My leadership journey has been informed by a need. So I'd like to share some thoughts about where I am now since I'm on a leadership platform. Why do I align with Live to Lead? There must be some reason why I keep going back every year to engage on the John Maxwell platform to pick up lessons. So factors for personal and leadership transformation. I think those are the reasons for me I keep going back. And I'm sure for a number of us that keep engaging on this stage every week, there must be some reason why we keep coming back. The third point I would like to share is lessons, specific lessons I took away, my takeaways, my golden nuggets that I'm going to hold on to in the months and years ahead. Then finally, I'll conclude by telling you where I am going from here. Is my glass half full or it is full? Is it half full or it is half empty? I'll share some thoughts on that as I conclude. So we'll move on by going straight to a very important area I think a number of us don't pay attention to: self-reflection. Self-reflection. Somehow we are so busy, AM to PM, busy with everything that we can imagine. We spend so much time doing things for the world. We carry along significant troubles, significant worries along the day, along the week, along the year. And most of the time, we forget about ourselves. And these are things that are usually supposed to help us to reset whenever you go through a self-reflection exercise. It's not an easy one, I must tell you, because sometimes when the reality hits you about the things you are asking yourself, why am I not moving on the way I desire to? You begin to ask yourself very worrying questions. So it's a space a lot of people just don't want to go to. I don't want to know. I just want to keep moving with the motion. But in the process, we keep moving with the motion and time begins to run out. So self-reflection for me is a significant exercise that I think each and every one of us must undergo. I keep saying that whenever you feel you can't do something by yourself, always seek the appropriate alliances or collaborations and get results. So when you can't do it yourself, you look out for people who can help you begin to re-examine your life, see where you are now, see where you want to be, and understand what you need to do to get to what you want to be or where you want to be. So it's a very important exercise. And I think anytime I engage on the Live to Lead stage, I always ask myself a number of questions. What will it take? Susie, what will it take? What will it take? I would like to share a quote by Tony Bourne, a British psychologist and an author. What does Tony say? Great leaders develop through, I want to say great leadership. Great leadership developed through a never-ending process of self-study, self-reflection, education, training, and experience. Just look at these strong words that are in this quote. Self-study, self-reflection, education, training, and experience. What this brings to bear is that we need significant amount of investment when it comes to time for transformation. And everything rests with us. Every step must be something that we are intentional about and plan to move on. When it comes to education, when it comes to training, when it comes to experience, yes, the way may be paid for you, but it will take you to take that individual step to be purposeful and engage and get the results. So great leaders develop through a never ending. So the word here is never ending. There's no end to learning. And I want to believe that for all of us who have been on this stage and back to this platform week and week, there must be a reason why we keep coming back. So I'd like to share a very short video on self-reflection. And at the end of the video, please watch. As you watch, take some notes at the end of the video. It's very short, under 2 minutes. I would like you to share your own personal takeaways or what you think are relevant for you in that video. So let the video show now, and then please watch and then take notes and note that in the chat box as well. Very short, but I want to believe is loaded with a number of nuggets. So I'll give you some few moments. Sam, if you can help me share some of the feedback from our audience, please drop. Don't think too far, don't think too deep. Whatever comes to your mind at this present moment, please, what is your take on this video? Don't think too deeply, just drop what your take on this video is. If this is something you are going through now, it will be good to share your experience and let us know how you are enjoying it. If it's a journey you haven't begun now, you have picked some nuggets, and I want to know that you want to hold on to it. So please drop your ideas. Sam, if you will be kind to please share with me what our audience are thinking at this time. Once we are done with that, I will also share my takeaway.
Yes. Okay, so far, Susie, I'm waiting for some thoughts. Not yet.
Okay.
People, you watched the video. What did you pick? What did you learn? How are you reflecting on your life? How are you reflecting on your relationship? How are you reflecting on your decisions? And so on. So if you would just share what you picked from the video, it would be great. All right.
Sam, whilst we wait for the messaging to drop, maybe you can share what you have. I know Sarah is on the call. Maybe just 1 word, 2 words, just for our audience to know what we are expecting from them.
Yes, I mean, for me, when I was watching, one of the things that hit me was when you reflect on your choices. So sometimes you make decisions, you choose some actions, and then if you reflect back on it, I've made some decisions in my life, and sometimes when I go back, I said, did I make this right way? Can I do it differently? And I've done a lot of adjustments on the way, and that comes from reflections over the choices that I have made in my life. So that's something that I could take away. I see Ebenezer Tufo says, my takeaway is self-reflection is the key to one's development. That's mind development. So that is from Ebenezer. And Joyce Do in Team says, she says, self-reflection is very important if you want to see if you are making progress in your endeavors. So that is from Joyce. And Mami Bafo says self-reflection is very important if you want to see. Okay, so that's Mami. Self-reflection is so Joyce's one was I learned that self-reflection helps to avoid past mistakes. It was Mami who said self-reflection is very important if you want to see if you are making progress in your endeavors. And NX Zeve says self-reflection helps to think deep about situations and make better decisions about possible courses of action. So those are some of the thoughts that have come in. And Annabelle says, I agree on all the 4 points. However, I'm learning to not be too critical of myself and gift myself the grace to focus, make adjustments, and take and take the steps to move forward. All right. Okay. So, right. Sarah says improve my relationship because it increases the level of empathy. And Kwesi Asari says uh, taking notes and pondering on. All right. Okay. Good. So those are some of the thoughts, and I give it. All right. I think Susie may have disconnected. I think she will reconnect her back. Okay. There is also improve my relationship. Okay, so that was Sarah. Okay, Susie is back. All right, Susie.
Yes, apologies for that. I think I dropped off briefly. So very importantly, we've seen the importance of pausing, thinking, re-examining our life, and repositioning ourselves for the future. I'd like to share what my takeaways are as far as first self-reflection is concerned. If I can have the screen back on, Kofi, thank you. When I go through a self-reflective exercise, what I observe is that I become a better version of myself. I become a better version of myself. And what tends to happen is that now I begin to look forward to the next best Susie, the bigger picture after where I am. And very importantly for me is that I remain positive all the time. That is the space we also struggle with, being positive about everything that happened to us. I think the first thing we do about everything that happened is to read the negative in it first. I'm not sure why that is the case, but we see the wrong first, even before we begin to see why that particular door was closed for us at that particular time. So these are my takeaway, that it's a very enclosed space for me whenever I pause and reflect. I find the new Susie, I find new energy, and I begin to move on and dream big. So I encourage all of us who are on this call, if this is a space we haven't found ourselves in, that we begin to know that in the midst of the busyness, in the midst of the running around, it's important that we find time and spend with ourselves and reset on the journeys that are ahead of us. So thank you for all of us that dropped some ideas in terms of what they picked from the video. Thank you. We'll continue with the engagement. Let me share with you where I am now, because I was required to share that. Where I am now, so far as my leadership aspirations are concerned. What I started sharing was that my leadership growth has been informed by a need. And that need is beginning to change things around for me in ways that I did not even imagine. So I am at a point where I am seeking strategic relationships. I am big on collaborations. I am big on partnership. I am big on doing things with other people because I believe there's power in numbers. So I am at that point where I am seeking strategic relationship. Being on this platform and engaging with everybody from every part of this world is one of them. So it's important for us to find out where we are in terms of our growth and where we need to be and what we have to do. So gap analysis is something we cannot take for granted. I keep saying that as a leader running a business, there are a number of things we do so far as the health of an organization is concerned. So far as the growth of an organization is concerned, everything we do for organizations, we can do it for ourselves as well. We carry out gap analysis for businesses. We run balance sheets, P&L accounts, income statements. We go through strategies. We run budget, business plan, everything we do for organizations. We can do the same for ourselves. Because if organizations can grow, it is we who are in there that must get organizations to grow. But organizations will only grow when we are also growing personally. So we can't separate personal growth, professional growth. It's something that we have to work on at the same time. And when that transformation begins to happen, you will see the convergence at a point. So I am at a point where I know, because I am seeking strategic relationship, what I need to do is to surround myself with relevance. Surround myself with relevance. Something Sarah spoke about on this same platform in sharing her experiences on the LIVE2LEAD 2021. Surrounding ourselves with relevance. We are all so busy. So whenever we have to engage, there must be no redundancy in the engagement. You must find value. If you don't find value being on this call this evening, then I have a big question to ask you. Why are you here? So finding relevance means that being very selective of people that we engage with. And this engagement requires continuous engagement. You don't start and stop. Too many of us get started very early with some initiative because we feel it's too much work. But you can't grow if you can't invest the time. We all have 24 hours. Nobody has more. We all have 7 days. Nobody has more. But what you do with your 24 hours defines who you are. So it's important that we find time to continuously engage. As a Toastmaster, every week I am in meeting. If I'm not speaking, then I'm moderating or handling another role. And it's something I do every week. And all it requires is an hour and a half every week. 6 hours every month. That is all I need to invest. As part of this platform, anytime you engage here, an hour and a half, 2 hours every week, which is what, 8 hours every month. That is all you have to do. So if we don't find that space to continuously engage, then it becomes difficult for us to position ourselves for growth. Another point I keep mentioning is for us to avail ourselves to be guided or tutored. We don't know it all. If we did, why do we go to school? Why do we go to others to teach us? Why do we have supervisors? Why do we have bosses? We don't know it all. So it's important that the word there is to avail yourself. That is the thing. You have to avail yourself. But if you find yourself in the box where you feel so contented, everything about you is what you have, you are okay, and you don't avail yourself, it becomes difficult for anybody to impart into your life. I hope I'm speaking to somebody on this call. A point I keep making, a critical point that every successful person, every successful leader, every successful entrepreneur, every successful executive, a point everyone who engages on the stage keeps saying: find mentors, find sponsors, find coaches, find accountable partners. These are your own personal council of elders. You can't underestimate the impact other people make in your life. So there's a place for each and every one of these people in our life to impact our growth. Somebody must be looking out for you somehow, every time. A sponsor. And the person keeps looking out for you because they know who you are and what you can do. It's very important. So somebody must know what you can give. And somebody must be out there putting in a word for you to push you. Somebody must be out there and see an opportunity and letting you know ahead to prepare for it. Coaches. A slide that I have that I will share along the way. We all need coaches. Everyone needs someone to guide them in their growth. There are a number of coaches on this platform, Sarah, Sam, and everybody else. Mentors, they have patience for us, but they speak into our lives and recommend changes that will help us to improve. Accountable partners, your buddies, things that you do on a daily basis. You want someone to tell you, yeah, you've done it. You walk for 5 kilometers. You say you do 2.5. Wow, you did it. Let's read 10 pages of a book this Saturday evening, and we did it. Wow, So we need buddies. We need people that can cheer us up every now and then, people we can engage in very, very effectively. So please begin to find people, align with them, and reposition yourself for growth. So this is where I am, finding strategic relationship, because I am at the cliffhanger, just waiting to jump over. These are some thoughts I'll leave with you as I move on to my next slide. For all those who received the invitation to be on this call, one of the quotes that was shared with my invite is by Warren Bennis. Becoming a leader is synonymous with becoming yourself. Something we all struggle with because we grow up wanting to be somebody else. We grow up with role models in our minds. We grow up wanting to speak like someone, dance like someone, talk like someone, walk like someone, become successful like someone. We forget that the differentiating factor is being authentic, being yourself, being who you are. Whatever you have is what will draw people to you. So becoming ourselves or being ourselves is very critical as we grow in terms of our leadership. So this, as Warren said, is precisely that simple, being ourselves. But it is so difficult because somehow we've all set benchmarks for ourselves. We want to be somebody else. We want to be like somebody else. So we have benchmarks. So everything we do is towards that. We forget ourselves in terms of our own aspiration and how we want to position ourselves. So being authentic in our growth is also very critical as leaders. Now let me move to the main reason we are on this call and thoughts that I have to share on critical success factors where it comes to personal and leadership transformation. One thing that stays with people whenever you engage with them is when you share your personal story, what you have done, and what you think should be the way for others to look onto. So this is what has worked for me so far as personal transformation is concerned. knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. So it's a typical question that is thrown at you every time, especially anyone who wants to engage with you and know you better. Who are you, Sam? Who are you, Sarah? Who are you, Annabelle? Most of the time, the responses are what the world is saying about us. Susie, the wealth manager, that's what the world is saying about me. But is that who I am? Susie, the CEO of Octane DC, that is what the world is saying. That is what I have achieved in terms of my career. But when all that is stripped off, when I'm no longer the CEO of this company, who am I? And these are words or traits that you must easily find about yourself. And the most important thing here is that whatever you describe yourself as, that is how people should also know you. There must be convergence somewhere. So for me, I am loyal, I am dependable, and I am a learner. I am loyal in that I take my relationships very seriously, because I think for every relationship, it requires significant investment in terms of time and emotions and everything else that comes along with it. So I'm that person who doesn't just walk away. I'm that person that stays very close. And my friends know this about me. The reason I have a few of my friends join on this call, because I just don't walk in and walk out. And because I go through the selection of meaningful relationships. I am dependable. My friends know that. My associates know that. And when it comes to learning, they always say, even my family says it. So when will you stop learning? When will you stop going to school? But the day you stop learning, that is it for you. You stop growing. Because the world is no longer for the learned. No, it's no longer for those who know and are stuck in their own world of what they know. The world is for those who are availing themselves to continuously learn. What has also worked for me for my personal transformation is that I am intentional about my growth. Very intentional, very purposeful. And that happens because I have remained focused in terms of what I need to do to move from one level to the other. So it's important that you define your own growth path. Something we have been encouraged to do, write it down. It's important. Don't keep everything in your head, no matter how smart you are. It's important to write it down and remain focused, because along the way, there will be significant distraction. They will come, no matter what you do, distractions will come. But how you manage the distraction will influence your own growth. One thing that has also worked for me is that I share my stories. Everything I want to do, there are people who know it. Everything I do, there are people who hear about it. So I find it difficult when some people say, oh, I don't want the world to know what I'm doing. Let me just keep quiet. Let me just hide. I'm like, if the world doesn't know what you have to offer, where does the growth come from? So let's not hold on to our personal successes, because when we share, a lot of things happen. We inspire, we motivate, we educate, and we entertain as well. Well, there's rumor and there's humor, sorry. So let's be purposeful and begin to let others know what we are doing, because when you do that, you get others. For our engagement on the LIVE2LEAD platform, every story that we have heard were personal stories. And whenever you hear someone's story, especially where they began from, their living room, and where they are now on the world stage, you tell yourself, I can also do it. So let's share our stories. Another point is being happy for others when they succeed. It's difficult. Everybody is running, everybody is doing something. You can't just figure it out. Everybody is moving ahead. So I know it's difficult. That act of jealousy, somehow it doesn't go away. When you hear that somebody has achieved something, somebody has been promoted, somebody has won an award, somebody has $1 million, somebody has a Lamborghini, you will feel that, I wish this was me. It doesn't go away. But the skill is turning that act of jealousy into joy and cheering others on. Because when you do, what you do is that you help them to keep moving on, and you also enjoy in that glory. Because when you cheer others on, they will also do the same for you when your success also begins to come. Another thing that has worked for me is I don't stop dreaming. And this is not dreams when we go to bed. This is dreams that we think about when we reflect. Don't stop dreaming. And when we dream, please, it's free. Dream big. Dream big. But be realistic. Don't stop dreaming. So I don't stop dreaming. I'm always looking for the next thing to do because I think the world is our oyster. Everybody can be an achiever once you are positive about growth. So these are the critical success factors that have worked for me as a person. And I'm sure if you're on this call, you also have some factors that have also worked for you. So I encourage you to carry this along the way. Let's look at what John Maxwell says about personal transformation. What he says is make sure your why is stronger, or your why is strong enough to sustain you in your challenging moments. We are not talking about just the why you joined this call. Why will you keep coming? Why you will keep coming is what will sustain you in challenging moments. Set small goals. Yes, the idea is to dream big, but within that dream, set small goals that can be accomplished on a daily basis. Daily wins are what we are looking forward to. Make consistency a goal. Very important. Make consistency a goal. Persistent and consistent. That's how I see it. It must happen for you every time. Celebrate along the way. Little wins. Celebrate yourself. And track and share your goal progress and challenge it with somebody else. A point I made about finding our own council of elders in whatever we do. So whatever your wins are, share them. Whatever your challenges are, share them. Now let's look at leadership. What has worked for me personally. And then we'll also see what John Maxwell says about leadership transformation. What has worked for me? Surrounding myself with relevant supports, a point I made earlier on when I was sharing where I am in terms of finding strategic relationship. Don't stop learning, something that you find in who I am, a continuous learner. Delegate effectively. And as a leader, it's important. You must find power in delegating. And the only way you can delegate effectively is to make sure you invest so much in your support. Give them so much resources so they know and understand what they have to do. So you have to learn to delegate. As a leader, that is how I am successful. I can't do the work all by myself. So I have to give my support the required resources so they are able to support me to succeed. Another point that has worked for me is to think about the bigger picture every time. Every time. So the world is for the best growing investment company. So what is the bigger picture for me? This is growing, but there should be something more beyond just growing. And be an outlier. Do things out of the ordinary. It's okay for the world to think you are crazy, but you know what you are saying and what others are not seeing. Let's see what John Maxwell says about leadership transformation, and if it aligns with what I am beginning to see or achieve. See things others do not see. I mean, it's as simple as that. Say things others do not see. I'm sure they will think you are crazy. Believe when others don't believe. Feel when others don't feel. And do things others do not do. So this is somebody who is totally out of line, an outlier. When everybody is going right, you have seen the opportunity in the left turn and you are going because you are beginning to see things that others are not seeing. So these are the thoughts I will leave so far as critical factors are concerned in supporting us personally and professionally, which informs our leadership transformation as well. I will move on and share my story, my learning from the Live to Lead 2021. What I learned was I engaged on that stage. One area I picked from is connections. Connections. If you could be kind to just move the slide for me. Connections. My first area of reflection during the Live to Lead section. We have 26 alphabets. And there are reasons why there are all those numbers, different shades, different sizes. Connecting with others gives us a sense of inclusion, connection, interaction, safety, and community. This is by Susan Young. We can't afford not to connect. On the call, my takeaway, when you call someone a friend, what do you mean? When you call someone a friend, what do you mean? It's important that we understand that there's a difference between friends, calling someone a friend, and having friendship with the person. That's the level. That you go beyond the ordinary and invest time and energy in building the bond with someone. Another point when it comes to connection is we must be careful with the quality of our inner circle. The point Sarah mentioned, if you're on the call, I'm sure she's shared so many nuggets on that. This means that on an annual basis of whatever frequency you want to define, we must audit and keep only those we need to keep. It's important. The trash must go. The redundancy must go. Let's surround ourselves with quality. Very importantly, we must think about companionship. Nobody should live alone. Nobody should live by themselves. There's a place for that. Spending time with yourself. There's a place for that. But everybody needs someone they will engage with. Everybody needs someone to love them. Everybody needs someone they will love. Everybody needs a family. A family needs somebody as well. So let's seek for companionship and let's not live in this world all by ourselves. So those are the nuggets I picked on connection whilst I spent time on the call. My second point was knowing who we are, something I touched on earlier on. And this is what Ray Bennett said. If you don't know who you truly are, you'll never know what you really want. Very important and very sensitive and straight to the point. What I learned, or the lessons I picked on the call, if people would describe you, what would they say about you in one sentence? Something I touched on earlier on. What do you want to be known for? You want to know people, that is fine. You want to seek strategic relationship, that is fine. But what are you bringing to the table? What do you want to be known for? When you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. It's as simple as that. So can we begin to ask questions in a more positive form and leave out the negative? Because when you start with the negative, you get negative responses. We must know that some setbacks are opportunities or setups for greatness. A point I made that we should not read negativity into things that happen to us. Because when a door closes, there must be a reason why that particular door is closing. So let's begin to remain positive on that. And let's stop saying no. No should not be the first word that comes out of our mouth. If I had said no to some, I wouldn't be here for the third time. But we must move from no to knowing, and we must remember to cheer others up, a point I made. So let's know who we are. It's an exercise that everybody must go through. So that is my second lesson from Live to Lead. I'll move on to the third one, the power of one more day, one more conversation. That is all it will take. And it requires patience. With the image I have on your screen, when it comes to stretching, the only reason we don't keep going on and on is the pain that comes along the way. But the instructors will tell you what you need to do is to fight that pain. When you move just a few meters away from that pain is joy. So sometimes all we have to do is to keep stretching, take our mind off the pain, and in no time we have joy in terms of how long we want to stretch or how flexible we want to have our body. And Mitch Albom says it's so beautiful. You can find something truly important in ordinary minutes. Sometimes the magic is just within a minute. Within a minute. So let's stop, create a space to reflect, respond, regain our momentum. Let's stop focusing on what we don't want. Because most of the time, that is what engages. I don't want this. I can't do this. I'm not cut out for that. This is for some other people. Every time, that is what it is. I don't have the time. I can't find the time. It is the negative things that comes to rather focus on what we want. You have the answer you need if you just keep quiet. So listen. Sometimes all we need is to calm down, close our eyes. The answer is right in front of us. So sometimes we need that calmness. So the power of one more day, one more conversation is what we need. And winning can be very fun if we are patient with results. My next lesson, which is the fourth, it's on coaching. We all need coaches. I mean, for that, I can't say it is not important. It is so important. We all need coaches. And CNN says it so well. Coaching is the universal language of change and learning. If you want to be transformed, you need a coach. If you want to continue learning, you need a coach. So find one, if you don't have one, and continuously make reference to what that coach is doing in your life. I have 2 coaches, and I tell you, All I have to do is to engage with them. And the result is magnificent. The whole year, all I have to spend is 12 hours a year with a coach. And the result, it's so transformational. So we have to be intentional about making people feel good about ourselves. That is something coaches bring to bear. They hear your story, they impact you, they help you with your growth. Everything happens to you and not everything that happens to you. Everything happens for you and not to you. That was very significant. I had to pause and think about that. It's important that we are relevant for and not just relevant in what we do. The world must know what we have to offer. So our skill sets should not just rest with us. We must give back so that others can tap into what we know. My final lesson of engaging on the call was legacy. Something I talk about a lot because of the service I offer, i.e. wealth management. Legacy is so important. Something John Nassau talks about every time. Generational thinking, generational wealth, giving back. What are we living for? What are we building? What are we providing stewardship for? Whatever we have now, how are we taking good care of it? What are we going to give out? Somehow, the more you give, the more you get. It's as simple as that. The good book says that. What are we going to leave behind? Is the growth all for just ourselves and by ourselves? And what or who will take over from us? Very important. So you have stewardship, you have succession planning, you have charity, you have generational wealth, all in there. When we begin to think like that, our outlook about life is totally different. It is no longer about us and what we can gather, but it's about the impact we can begin to create on this earth. So those are my lessons from Live to Lead 2021. And I'm sure for those who were on the call, they will attest to the fact that it was really a good time. So I'd like to conclude by saying, your glass. Whatever you have in your glass, wherever you are, what do you see? Is it half full or it is half empty? And this is all about your perception about life, how you look at things about life, and the opportunities you want to take going forward. Do you always see the negative or you see the positive? So whatever your decisions are in going forward really depends on you and what you have to achieve. Some decisions are very personal. Nobody can force them on you. Of course, you can be guided for transformation. So the next time you have a glass, ask yourself figuratively, is it half full? Is it half empty? For some people, they'll just drink the water and say, okay, now there's no water in the glass, so there's no conversation. But is that what it is? So my dear friends, this is my journey so far. And this is what I have achieved through my engagements with other people and what they have impacted on my life. So going forward, my recommendations, or as recommended at the conference, is that our goals must be written down. It's important. Too many of us don't write down our goals. It must be written down. Our vision must be in the present tense. I am going to do this. I am. Because usually when we say I will, the year passes by and we don't get resolved. So tell yourself, I am going to do this. And tell yourself, I will make the people around me feel good. Because when people around you feel good, you are excited yourself. And tell yourself, every day you live to be a better person. So the question is, what will you be doing going forward? What will you be doing going forward? Thank you so much for your time. I want to believe that I have learned some good nuggets along the way. There's always something about, listening to people or hearing people say something. There's always one thing you move away with. Whatever that thing is, please hold on to it. And don't keep it to yourself. Share it so that others also participate in the new learning. For those of you who follow me on social media, these are my social media handles. Just type my name, they will pop up everywhere. And let's continue this conversation in other areas. Thank you so much, Sam. I'll end here and I'll take questions.
Right. Thank you so much, Susie. You were so engaging. I even didn't see that the time had run out. And because I was learning so much and taking so much notes. And for everybody on the call, please go ahead and put your comments down. What have you learned from this great woman, from her life, from her lessons, from her participation in LIVE2LEAD? And by the way, if you need retirement planning, if you need management of your wealth, if you're not sure of how to manage your finances, connect with Susie. She will help you. That's what she does for a living. So she will help you to manage your resources. And if you don't have some of the money, like me, I'll go for her to give me some of the money she has. Thank you so much, Susie. Take a short break. I'm going to see what people are saying. Please put your comments down. All right. Carissa Foundation, I think that Cynthia, he says, do it for yourself. All right. And he says, be very selective. I think it's about the people around you. And we do not know it all. So those are some of the things that Cynthia Foriata is learning. Annabelle says, indeed, it is simple, yet very difficult. True. Being yourself is what life is all about, not being somebody else, but it's very difficult. And she picked that, Annabelle. Mark Kumoji Ablo says, on sharing your story, and this I think is a question for Susie, on sharing your story, how do you balance between a superstitious society and witches in the village and blowing your own horn? And I love that one because when I was in sixth form, we had a lecturer, and once he was just blowing his horn, telling about. So one body in the class was at the back and said, "You are blowing your horn." Then he said, "Who said that?" I mean, he said it in a serious voice, so the class became quiet. And he said, "Who said that?" Then everybody was quiet. I think the guy was trepidated, and he slowly raised his hand, and then he walked towards him and says, "If you have a horn and you don't blow it, who will blow it for you?" And everybody started laughing, So, all right. So that's a question for you. How do you balance blowing your horn and the witches in your village, Susie? All right. So I think that is a question from Mark. And Kwesi can come say, can you please elaborate on what you meant to be of ourselves rather than following people? Should we not be emulating people? So that's the second question from Kwesi can come. Jemima says, good evening, everyone from the USA. Thank you. How is Joe Biden there? Jimmy Contour says, hi, everyone. I'm looking for a coach. All right. So, Jimmy, let's talk after this. All right. So, Onyeni Shaga says, Dr. Susie, this is powerful. All right. And he says, you made good sense. And that's true. Miriam says, well done, Susie. Mami Bafo says, thank you so much for sharing wisdom with us. Indeed, my glass is half full. All right. So we'll take a few more. Who is willing to be my coach? Wheezy, just contact me, contact Sarah, contact Susie. And William therefore say, awesome presentation. My takeaway, I will continue to learn, correct where I fall short, share and leave a positive legacy. All right. Joyce Edun Team says, great presentation. It has brought LIVE2LEAD to life again. Well done. Good. Ebenezer, the evening has been an insightful one. I've enjoyed it most. All right. Queen Shishi says, thank you so much, Auntie Susie. I learned that we should stop focusing on what we can't do. All right. So stop focusing on what you cannot do, what you don't want, and focus on what you want. Jimmy, 12 hours per year coaching. What is involved in this? So that's a question for you, Susie. So you have 3 questions. And somewhere here, he says, truly, everyone needs a coach. Thank you very much. All right. So you have 3 questions to answer. How do you deal with your village witches? And how is 12 hours of coaching? What does it involve? And Mr. Kankam's question was, I think I missed that one, but I believe you noted it.
Yes,
All
I
right.
did.
Okay, elaborate. He says you should elaborate on, saying that you should be yourself. Why shouldn't we be emulating? Didn't Jesus say, follow me? And Paul says, same. All right, Susie, over to you.
Right. Let me take my question first on witches. The witches will not go away. I mean, they were here when we came onto the world. They are still here, but it's being the point I made about being positive about everything. When you are superstitious, or when you believe so much in superstition, what tends to happen to you is that you begin to live in fear. So everything that happens to you, the first thing you think about is that somebody is doing this to me. Somebody doesn't want my good. And it's because of who you have become, being very negative. When I pray, my prayers are not about witches. I am not saying that I don't acknowledge that there is evil in this world. But when I pray, my focus is on the glory and the grace of God. That is what I live on more than the fear. And the point I made about sharing your story is informed by your connections. I'm not saying that you should go into spaces that do not even align with what you are doing. They don't even understand your growth and where you are. They don't understand your dream. So what you are saying will not make sense to them. And they may begin to feel that you are becoming something. That is what it is. Being successful or growing into leadership, it's a lot of hard work. And it is not enough for you to just hold on to your knowledge and your skills without the world knowing what you can offer. Because people must know what you have on the table, and they will move you into new areas and new opportunities. So when you share your story at Octane DC, one thing we identify ourselves anytime we find ourselves on any stage is financial independence and wealth creation. So our product is not something we even bring to the fore when we begin to engage. We want people to understand that what you need for your financial journey first is literacy that translates into independence, and then wealth is created out of it. So you must understand the importance of savings and investing. Then the wealth will come along the way. So sharing your story is sharing your story with people who are interested in your growth and helping you to move forward. And it all depends on your connections, the people you have selected to be your accountable partners, the people you have selected to be your own council of elders. Whatever happens to me, when I received the award, my organization received the award last night, the first set of people I shared it with were my coaches and mentors and buddies, because I know who they are in my life. So you must find the right place to share your story, share it in the right environment. And what will move you to the next step is feedback for growth. So, Mr. Mark, yes, the witches will always be there, but please, let's not focus too much on them. Let's rather hold on to everything positive in whatever happens to us. And in no time, you'll forget about them and the glory will follow. So that's my feedback for Mark. Akwesi was asking about being yourself, a point I made about being authentic. Does it mean that you shouldn't look at other people and emulate them? No, that's not the point I'm making. We all live and grow by experience, out of your own experience or what others are doing. So you see what others are doing and you want to follow them in doing the same. The point I'm making is that don't try to become that person, because you don't know how that person's journey began and what they have gone through to be where they are. So create your own story, create your own identity. Let people know you for how you speak. That is you, that is your voice. Don't try to speak like someone. And don't try to follow someone in their own, how will I put it, step by step in terms of what they did. So find your own, how will I put it, joy area, and pick out from lessons from whoever you are looking up to, see what they did in terms of education, in terms of career growth, in terms of their associations, and emulate them. But whatever you do, make sure you are still who you are. It's important, because that differentiation must exist. The point I made about 12 hours of coaching, what I do is that I block 3 months out of the 12 months every year. And I spend an hour every week with my coach. So that is 4 hours in a month. Times 3 is 12 hours. And that is all you need to engage. Coaching is not cheap. Coaching requires you to be a good student because there are assignments. Coaching requires that you have time to engage. Coaching requires that you find money and pay for the service. So my 12 hours is what has been defined with my coach every year. And what happens within that time, it's what you need, your personal need for the rest of the year, for the coming year. for your personal growth, for your business growth, for your career, and it can go into other areas. Marriage, relationships, it can go into other areas. What you get out of your coach is the need you share with them and the type of intervention you need from them. So typically in the first session, you'll be asked a lot of questions. And in coaching session, the coachee speaks more than the coach, because the coach must listen to you. Because it is what you need done that will be done for you. It is not what the coach wants done for you. So it's a personal engagement with someone who is paying attention and listening to you and asking you very reflective questions, and you making time to provide the answers. You must be true to yourself because you are going there. You want the growth. So you must be true to yourself about your need. And then the needed interventions are provided. But it's very engaging, it's very involving, and it's a serious relationship you create because you know why you are going and the results you want out of that. So I think I picked 3 questions. I'm sure Sam and Sarah on this call, I'm sure they also have their own ways of engaging with coaches along the way. So.
All right, thank you so very much. And those the 3 questions. We'll get your final thoughts in a minute, but at this point, we want to invite everybody on the platform to join us on the leadership journey. We have a program that we have 15 weeks to help you to grow. And those who are looking for coaching and this one, it's a group coaching, but we still have time for you. Every week we have 2 hours, and for 15 weeks you grow. So Kofi, go ahead and let's share the growth journey, and then Susie will come back and give us her closing thoughts.
Hi, dear friend. My name is Samuel Ayim, and I'm the CEO for the Center for Transformational Leadership. And I'm bringing to you the growth journey. We've set aside 15 weeks of growth to help you to be intentional about your growth. Where do you want to reach in your leadership? Which area of your life do you want to grow in? Growth doesn't just happen. It has to be intentional. So in these 15 weeks, we're going to have special coaching sessions with you to be able to grow to where you want to grow. And to be able to grow yourself, you need to know yourself. A lot of us are not achieving the maximum we can achieve because we have not invested in our personal growth. We're going to help you in all and more within these 15 weeks. Every week we'll have a session with you. This program is limited to only 15 people. We're going to have 15 people for 15 weeks, and we're going to learn 15 great growth lessons on this journey. So make a date with us and see you on the growth journey.
All right, so we'll see you on the growth journey. We encourage you to join. We are just about to finish the second group of the last group. I think we have just 2 weeks to finish, and then we will take the next group. So we are registering for the next cohort of the growth journey. So I think we have a few more spaces. Please make sure contact me, and let's get you on board. We have very vigorous discussions, sharing of experiences, life lessons that what people are doing, and that you can pick from. I mean, I'm learning a lot myself. I'm growing even more running this program for people. So we have 15 people on each cohort when we will go through those 15 lessons, which will be based on John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Laws of Growth. So for those of you who want to help your teams, your staff people, please encourage them, support them. It's only 1,500 Ghana cedis, which is like 100 cedis a week. which I know some people buy wache by the roadside, 200 and so on, and they finish it. But this is lasting value for you. So thank you. So Susie, now we want you to share with us your closing remarks. We've learned so much already from you, and I mean, listening to you is so soothing, it's so engaging, and we don't want to cut. I don't know, by the way, before you come, I don't know if Sarah has anything to say before you come with your closing thoughts. Sarah?
Yes, it has been a wonderful time. And as someone said in the comments, this is another Live to Lead. It really brought me all the way back to the 8th of October and yesterday where we had the rebroadcast. And we still have another rebroadcast in the month of January. So those of you who have not been able to be part of the Live to Lead, look at what Susie shared with us. Very, very rich. And I will definitely invite you to start putting your monies aside to join us on the 19th, I think it's the 17th of January. So don't spend all your money during the Christmas. Save some for your personal growth.
And it's only 500 Ghana cedis for the Live to Lead, so it's not a lot of money.
Susie has really underlined that. And before I gave the floor to Susie, there is Carissa Foundation who is asking whether the growth journey is virtual. Yes, it is. It is virtual. So Carissa Foundation, you can sign up for the growth journey. So thank you, all of you, and it has been great being part of this conversation this evening.
All right. So Susie, your closing thoughts for us.
Sam, every day is an opportunity for us to learn. And the only way we can learn is to continue to engage. And whenever we engage, it must be intentional. There must be value we get out of the engagement. And whenever we find ourselves in any space doing anything, let's go beyond the simple why and identify the bigger why. Because the bigger why is what forms the foundation for growth. That is where the consistency of our activities or actions will fall on. So let's continue to learn, because there's nothing like knowing it all. There's nothing like being comfortable in your space. There's nothing like this is all I can do. Success is hard work. When we are successful, the next step is significance. You must begin to look at giving back. And that is where significance comes in. So it's a long journey. Avail yourself. Make the time. Continue to grow. And impact will just follow. Thank you for the opportunity, Sam. Thank you for the opportunity to sit here for engaging one more time on your platform. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Susie. And thanks everybody for joining the leadership platform. Until next week, when we come your way with another great speaker, great teacher, great leader, we wish you all a very, very good evening. And we thank God for giving us this platform and giving us Susie and everybody to come together. We thank God for all of you, and we pray that the lessons will stick with you. Have a very good night, and please go to church tomorrow. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye.
There is a popular saying in leadership that if you think you're leading and there's nobody following you, you are only going on a walk. On this platform, you are going to learn principles of leadership. You are going to encounter different leaders. You are going to learn about how you can grow as a leader, how you can make an impact. My name is Samuel Eyim, and I'm the host for the leadership platform. I am a leadership coach, a lawyer by profession, a John C. Maxwell certified coach. I have been in corporate life in senior positions for several years, and now I run the Center for Transformational Leadership, where we train and coach leaders to become better leaders. And I invite you to go on a journey with us as we discuss the subject of leadership in the coming weeks.
This and every Saturday, you have opportunity to ask questions, share your views on important leadership matters.